Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today we're going to talk about the Daryl Dixon Show. I don't think it has a new name. It's probably going to get one, but I can't imagine they keep the Daryl Dixon Show as a name. But we got some random and odd news, and man, I've been itching to discuss this show for a little bit, but the odd news kind of pushed me over the edge. I was waiting until we got a lot more, maybe even a full-on trailer to really pinpoint whether my interest is going to be zeroed in. As far as I'm always going to watch The Walking Dead, but am I going to watch it day one is where I stand. Like, I'll eventually get around to it. Anyhow, so I'm waiting for the trailer, but somebody on the stunt team posted this image, and they said, I'm not even going to pronounce it. I'll probably pronounce it wrong anyway, but it sounds like Tournage Season 2, Valide or whatever. But this translates to filming Season 2. And I thought that was super odd because they just got done filming Season 1 a little bit ago. We haven't watched Season 1. We haven't even gotten a full-blown trailer. And they're already jumping into a Season 2 back-to-back. Now, the reason why I thought that was really odd is because it gave me this impression that they're speeding things along with 2 short seasons. I think there's 6 episodes in the first season. There's most likely going to be 6 to 8 episodes in the second season. I don't think they're going to extend it greatly, especially now we know they're possibly filming it back to back. But the reason being is if they're rushing to do it back to back, they have their American crew there overseas filming. I'm not really sure why they would, I'm not sure why they picked that location. I think I heard something about Norman Reedus actually having to live or work there for something anyway at that time, and that's why they moved it there. But I got the vibe it was a temporary thing, and I wasn't sure how long that would rock out for. But if you look at them, and if this is real, them filming season 1 and 2 back to back, I get the feeling that that's it for how temporary it is. Now, obviously, they can film it back to back and then take a break for like 2 years while they're, editing and releasing, because obviously they're not going to release this one after the next. It's not like here's 6 episodes. Oh, we're going to take 3 months off and we're going to release 6 more episodes. No, they're probably going to drop. I think it's releasing at the end of this year, right? Yeah, I think the Daryl Dixon is the end of 23, and then Rick and Michonne is in 24. So they'll drop this in 23 at the end, and then they'll drop the second season at the end of 24. So if they're done filming this, let's say in a couple months they wrap it up. Let's say a few months they wrap it up. They're back home in America. The team, or I don't know how long Norman, but the point is, let's say they come back home halfway throughout 2023. Well, they're not even going to air the second season until, the end of 2024. So they can rock here. And are they going to even begin filming the third season in, mid 2024? So they can kind of rock here for a year. And again, these are just a bunch of generalities because I wasn't really paying attention to the real details of the crew that they brought over outside of it's the American crew from the main show with a couple newcomers. They brought them over there. That's all I read from an article. And I saw some images that had, some images like this piqued my interest. There was a couple more, some other stuff that I wasn't too sure of because it kind of looked like, the same old with The Walking Dead. Dead City has something I wanted to discuss, but maybe we'll talk about that for another day because that's going to be releasing, I believe, earlier than this even, because we have Fear the Walking Dead. If you're still watching that drops in, June? And actually, Dead City, I think, drops in May, doesn't it? So that's even before it. So there's Dead City, there's Fear the Walking Dead's final season. Morgan's going back to Atlanta, and then you have... Actually, it's not Atlanta, but you get what I'm saying. He's going back to the house he stayed at, which was the neighbor's house to Rick's house, which is kind of cool. But it depends on what they do with it. Is it just member berries? It seems like it, but anyhow, some nostalgia bait. But then you have, at the end of the year, you have the Daryl series, and then next year you have the Rick and Michonne series, and then following that, I'm assuming you would have the Dead City season 2, and then now we know the Daryl Dixon season 2. Now, I don't know if there's more information in this article. You could look up. I think this is the only article that is running this information at the time I'm looking it up. But it does mention that there's been no confirmation. You could read this article yourself. It's on Bleeding Cool. There's no confirmation that they were approved for a second season. So that's why it was kind of odd and took a few fans by surprise. But this says that Dead City is hitting in June. I could have sworn that was Fear that was hitting in June. I must have it all mixed up. But you guys who have been paying attention better than I have, put the right information down below. Now, because of the different environment, I am going to take a peek at Dead City. We're probably going to do a after show on Sunday as soon as it airs for the premiere. That's all I'm giving it. I got to give it the premiere to hook me, and then we'll see what happens from that point on. So it says that here, in AMC and AMC Plus, The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon washes ashore in France and struggles to piece together how he got there and why. And this is the little tidbit from both shows that I find frustrating. Dead City is doing a storyline that they've already done repeatedly, like 17 times on the main show. And then in The Walking Dead, the Daryl Dixon's The Walking Dead, he just washes ashore in France, and he has to struggle this mystery box of how he got there and how he's going to get out of there. I don't know. But the thing that does lead to some interest, if they are burning through to do these 2 seasons back to back, bang it out, does that mean that that's it to conclude with the Daryl Dixon storyline? Does that mean that they're going to return after... because they can film in France, they can come back, they can rock out, back home for a year, then they can go back to France. I mean, that's very much common. It's possible. It happens. I mean, Andrew Lincoln was living in the UK and then coming over here to film. So it took a toll, but he did that for like 10 years. So it's possible. Or does this mean, is this the first sign that it's just a 2-season temporary location? And if they do continue, they can either bring Daryl back to the States, intertwine his story with, other characters like Carol once he comes back, or even Rick and Michonne. Would it connect to that? Now, here's, again, there's always these different branches because we don't know what future they want to go after for the Walking Dead franchise, but will Daryl Dixon connect to Rick and Michonne's story and even Carol and conclude, or will it connect to Rick and or Carol and continue on? Now, you don't need Rick to continue on with Daryl. Like I said, if they establish a community and we know they're all there, and then they have these characters, I think Dead City is like the perfect example. They're in the community in Commonwealth, let's just say. They're in the community Commonwealth. They have, Alexandria still, whatever you have set up, but they venture out to different locations, exploring trade, growing the communities. And that's what we know, that, Rick and Michonne are back at Commonwealth or whatever it may be after it all wraps up, but we're still following Daryl. That's kind of what I meant by that. So I'm leaning towards being a little more excited that this is a 2-season kind of temporary location, a bit of a break from what we had. And then they're going to bring them back and touch base somewhat with Rick, Michonne, Carol, maybe even some other surprise cameos, Father Gabriel, whatever. And then from that point on, I don't know, either take a break from Daryl Dixon and leave him as a character that could return in a little bit, because we now know that it's very common for them to take a break and then friggin' 10, 20 years later, revisit these characters. We're already seeing it with Michael Keaton as Batman. Unfortunately, it's going to be in a Flash movie, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers. So anyhow, to finish this up, it says here that the series tracks his journey across a broken but resilient France as he hopes to find a way back home. As he makes the journey through, the connections he forms along the way complicate his ultimate plan. The series I don't like the idea of that. See, and that just sounds like another Morgan situation where Morgan's away, and then he makes these new friends and he just forgets about the friggin', brotherhood bond with, you know what I'm saying? Like Rick Grimes. And he's like, well, I'll just take care of these new people I just met. And those connections never feel as solid as, imagine Daryl making connections that the show wants you to believe are as solid or more solid than his connection with Carol. You know what I'm saying? And he's going to stay rather than going back home. Or the connections are more solid than his brother Rick, and he's going to stay rather than going back home. That's the direction they did go with Morgan for multiple seasons that I did not like. And let's hope they don't do that with Daryl Dixon. Anyhow, what do you guys think about the season 2? How funny would it be is if this is just an accident and they took a break from filming and everyone jumped the gun, myself included. But anyhow, thoughts and opinions down here in the comment box. That's it for me. I do want to mention something coming up about Dead City. There was actually some ridiculous video I seen, and I don't know. I might end up, when I get back from work, I might end up making a video on it because it is insane. I just have to share some thoughts. So, thoughts and opinions down below. I got to go back to work. I love you guys. Wait, what's the outro? Yeah. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Be safe.